Everybody's stuck on the highway.
A ferocious Atlantic storm, classified as a weather bomb, tore through Newfoundland on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, leaving behind a trail of destruction, power outages, and battered coastlines. The system underwent bombogenesis, a rapid intensification of a low-pressure system, triggering extreme weather conditions across the province, particularly in eastern and southern regions. Meteorologists confirmed that the storm set a new November sea level pressure record in St. John's, with barometric pressure plunging below 960 hectopascals, shattering the previous record of 971.4 hectopascals. Wind gusts exceeded 170 kilometers per hour in some coastal areas, including near Sable Island and southeastern Newfoundland, making it one of the strongest storms since Hurricane Fiona in 2022. Environment Canada issued multiple warnings, including wind, rainfall, and storm surge alerts, as the system barreled across the island. The strongest winds were felt along the Avalon Peninsula, where gusts reached 120 to 140 kilometers per hour, toppling trees, damaging infrastructure, and knocking out power to over 9,000 residents. Waddleton described the situation as dire. "We're at the mercy of the sea," she said, as waves crashed over the weakened seawall, which had already sustained damage from a previous storm. 2 families were evacuated as a precaution, and local officials braced for further damage during high tide. The town faced coastal flooding, erosion, and wave heights exceeding 6 to 12 meters, overwhelming defenses and threatening homes and public infrastructure. The storm dumped 30 to 60 millimeters of rain across parts of Newfoundland and Cape Breton, with localized areas receiving even more. In higher elevations of western Newfoundland and Labrador, heavy, wet snow added to the hazards, complicating travel and emergency response.
Corner Brook, the sheet of ice.
Roads were flooded, visibility was poor, and emergency crews worked through the night to clear debris and restore power. The provincial government issued a public advisory, urging residents to stay indoors, avoid coastal areas, and monitor updates from Environment Canada.
You have all these people.
The storm exposed vulnerabilities in Newfoundland's coastal infrastructure. Aging seawalls, limited drainage systems, and remote access routes hampered response efforts in several communities. In Trepassey and other southern towns, breakwaters failed to contain the surge, and emergency shelters were activated for displaced residents. Transportation and Infrastructure Minister issued a statement acknowledging the strain on public services and pledged support for rapid assessments and repairs. "We are coordinating with local municipalities to ensure safety and recovery," the statement read. The term weather bomb refers to a storm that undergoes bombogenesis, where the central pressure drops by at least 24 hectopascals in 24 hours. This rapid deepening creates intense wind fields and severe weather. The Newfoundland storm met and exceeded this threshold, making it one of the most volatile systems to hit the region in recent years. Meteorologists noted that the storm's trajectory and intensification were influenced by warm Atlantic waters, jet stream dynamics, and seasonal transitions, which can amplify storm behavior in late autumn. Local fire departments, volunteer groups, and emergency services mobilized quickly. Social media was flooded with images of downed trees, flooded streets, and heroic rescues. Schools and public offices were closed in affected areas, and cleanup operations began as winds subsided. Power restoration crews worked around the clock, and by Wednesday evening, service had been restored to most urban centers. Residents shared stories of solidarity, with neighbors helping each other secure property, clear debris, and provide shelter. "It's tough, but we've been through worse," said one resident in St. John's. Experts warn that storms like this may become more frequent and intense due to climate variability and changing ocean temperatures. The event has reignited discussions about coastal resilience, infrastructure investment, and emergency preparedness. Local governments are expected to conduct damage assessments and propose upgrades to seawalls, drainage systems, and early warning protocols. Meanwhile, St. Mary's Mayor Steve Ryan describes Tuesday night's events as a perfect storm. After just an hour of sleep, Ryan told local media that he was devastated to see the town's fish plant, owned by St. Mary's Bay Fisheries, had burned down.
Angry ocean.
The conditions were just unbearable, he said Wednesday morning, illustrating a scene of intense fire amid hurricane-force winds in his small Newfoundland and Labrador town. About 20 residents evacuated their homes to stay at the town hall until the early hours of the morning, Ryan confirmed. The fish plant was the largest employer in the region with more than 300 workers, both from the St. Mary's area and abroad, during its peak season. The mayor said it provided good, high-paying jobs. "We had a success story here. It's really hurtful," he said with a shaky voice. "A lot of people planned their lives around the plant." Ryan said the fire flared up Wednesday morning, likely because of continuing high winds. He said it's now under control. Winds along the southern Avalon Peninsula gusted as high as 172 kilometers per hour on Tuesday. Environment Canada's wind warning is still in effect for the Avalon Peninsula throughout Wednesday, with gusts up to 110 kilometers per hour expected along the coast. Ryan and St. Vincent's Mayor Verna Hayward both said the situation was complicated even further when power went out, taking any available cell service along with it. Hayward told CBC News that the loss of the fish plant is tragic for her town as well, but people weren't able to call and check in on each other when power went out as it burned. The St. Vincent's mayor said cell coverage can be spotty in that area on a good day. She'd like that to change. Flooding on Route 90 through St. Vincent's Beach has forced the road to close in both directions. The Department of Transportation and Infrastructure is advising people to avoid the area. As of Wednesday morning, 41 customers were still without power from St. John's to the southern shore, according to Newfoundland Power's website. In Long Harbour and Coley's Point, 272 were still without power. Power was still out for 806 customers on the Burin Peninsula and 1,307 from Sunnyside to the Bonavista Peninsula and vicinity. The area of Gander to New West Valley and nearby communities had 1,217 customers wake up to no power. In the communities of Seal Cove, Wild Cove, Point of Bay, Cottrell's Cove, and Fortune Harbor, 584 were without power at the time of writing. Glenda Power, the communications director for Newfoundland Power, says most power should be restored by noon NT Wednesday. "Hopefully we won't have any further outages, but that's a little unpredictable at the moment given the winds are still high," she said in an interview on the St. John's Morning Show. Meanwhile, locally heavy snowfall has been reported in communities such as Corner Brook, Massey Drive, Grand Falls-Windsor, and along the Trans-Canada Highway across western Newfoundland. Snow was reported as far east as Gander. Be prepared for additional power outages and potential travel impacts. Marine Atlantic has canceled ferry crossings through Wednesday morning.